What's up, heathens? How ya doing? I'm the Godless engineer, and I critically analyze apologist claims to give you the best arguments and information so that you can stand up and use your voice. Today, we're going to be taking a look at a rabbi who I guess is a sort of rabbinical Christian or something? I don't know. He's a Jew for Jesus type person. He is going to be explaining why atheism simply shouldn't exist. I'm sure none of these things are going to be idiotic or anything like that. He's going to definitely tell us a very thoughtful explanation as to why we shouldn't exist as a demographic. So if you guys want to fuck around and find out why atheists simply shouldn't exist, then please stay tuned.
Baruch Hashem, bless the name of the Lord. Why atheism should not exist? Well, the first reason atheism should not exist is it's just plain dumb.
Oh shit, the big brain shit in this video already is causing me to rethink my entire life. Holy shit, let's just take all this godless engineer shit down. I'm Christian now, y'all. Or whatever in the fuck this rabbi is. Oh fuck, now I'm a Christian. Where's that Jesus dick I need to suck?
How does something come from nothing? I mean, it's the most basic, simple truth in all of the universe. I mean, it's beyond common sense.
Okay, all right. So for the 900 millionth and whatever time, that is not atheism. That's not anything that is dictated by atheism or that atheism claims. All that atheism is whether or not a person believes in God. That's it. That's all. That's all that atheism is. So what I need out of this video is for you to tell me why a person should believe in God and not these bullshit things that you think atheists think or that you think that atheism is tied to. Because the beginning of the universe just simply isn't an atheist tenet. Like, that's not a thing that atheism covers. But to answer your question here, because I've had to answer this a lot, not as an atheist, but just as a critical thinker of the arguments for theism, the whole cosmological argument, or the argument that God is required for this universe to exist in some capacity, the whole nothing thing is totally different when it's coming from a religious apologist than it is a, like, scientist or an astrophysicist or whatever in the fuck you would require to answer that question. The nothing that religious apologists think exists is the absolute kind of nothing, where nothing exists in empty space, right? Just nothing. What we find is that isn't representative of what we find in reality. In reality, a space totally devoid of every single thing of what we would consider nothing still has an electrical charge, so it is still something. So, he's just simply wrong about atheists thinking this universe popped into existence out of what he would call nothing. The scientific answer for how the universe started is a lot more complex, but it also doesn't require a absolute nothing, just the more scientifically accurate nothing that would be whatever exists outside of this universe.
How did something come from nothing? It had to start somewhere. And whenever you identify where it started, the question then is asked, where did that come from? And that same question will continue to be asked forever unless the question is stopped, because there is a cause that exists that had no cause. In other words, there's a first cause.
Yeah, so simply the first cause argument, which has been debunked for the longest fucking time. So I could give you the best scientific explanation for it. This, of course, has nothing to do with atheism, mind you. So this is really kind of going off the rails, off the original topic of why atheism shouldn't exist. But in any case, so the scientific explanation of this would be that there was a quantum scalar field that was in a false vacuum state. And then for whatever reason, either a reason or no reason, it fluctuated from that false vacuum state into a true vacuum state, and that released an immense amount of energy. And that immense amount of energy then transformed from that state into another state that would later become the matter that we find in this universe. That inflation happened nearly instantaneously, but then the expansion of the universe continued from that point. That's the scientific explanation of it, which has nothing to do with atheism. And this eternal thing that is uncreated, as far as we can tell, would just be the fabric of reality. And you would call that God. But I feel like you would have a tough time distinguishing between the fabric of reality and God.
It's the only answer, that there is a being that has always been. Otherwise, again, you'll forever be asking the question, well, where did that come from? Where did the Big Bang come from? Well, what caused that? What caused that? It had to begin with a being that has always been. And that, by definition, is who God is, Baruch Hashem.
Well, you just kind of arbitrarily say that the question stops with God. But if everything in this universe requires a creator or requires a cause, then that would also infer that God would need a cause. So what is the cause for God? You just kind of arbitrarily say that, oh, well, God is uncreated. He didn't need a cause. He was the first one. I don't see how you could then criticize me for saying that the fabric of reality is just an eternal thing that's always existed, that it's just always been there. You arbitrarily apply an attribute to God, and what I do is say that there's nothing to indicate that the fabric of reality just hasn't been eternal. This was the same thing that happened with this universe. The universe was thought to have eternally existed until the Big Bang was discovered. And then it became, well, what occurred before the Big Bang? We don't know. We don't know what it would have even looked like before the Big Bang, but the fabric of reality definitely extends outside of our own universe. And there's nothing that restricts the fabric of reality from being within our universe. There's nothing that restricts other universes from being in existence at the same time as ours. You just arbitrarily assign this whole thought-stopping mechanism to God, and we just say, for all of our evidence that we have right now, there's nothing that says that it can't be eternal. And I feel like that's a more honest answer than just applying some kind of bullshit arbitrary rule to some figure you just made up.
The law of first cause. And then I think about the fact that human beings, we appreciate what is good in terms of people celebrate mercy. We celebrate compassion. There's so much happening in our society right now that is being celebrated because underdogs are getting opportunities. And everybody likes to see an underdog get an opportunity. There's a basic goodness within humankind.
First of all, I don't know what this has to do with atheism necessarily. So I'm interested to see where he's going with this. But on the other hand, I thought that the whole Abrahamic idea was that we're all innately evil and that we all innately want to do bad things. I don't know. Maybe that's a strictly Christian and not whatever in the fuck this guy is who also believes in Jesus. But I feel like saying that we're all innately good is kind of contradictory to what the Bible tells us.
For example, have you ever felt love for somebody? Have you ever felt love for a husband, a wife, a child, a friend? Of course. Well, let me ask you this question. Isn't love a spiritual thing?
Love is a chemical reaction that happens in your brain. The reason why everybody loves different people for different reasons is because we're all configured differently. Our brain chemistry is differently. Our brains work differently. Like, we don't all have brains that work exactly the same. Well, as far as like the biochemistry of them, like the raw physics of it, those are the same, obviously. What I'm saying is that all of our brains process things differently, right? There's so many different ways for everybody's brain to work. And so that's why we, love different people for different reasons. And it's definitely a chemical reaction in your head. It is not a spiritual thing.
Can love be explained by an explosion that happened in outer space? Can love be explained, the phenomenon of it, by something that was birthed because of two types of chemicals that somehow collided with each other, and boom, there was life, there was the ability to love, there was consciousness, there was the ability to do good. None of that has anything to do with science.
Smoke weed every day.
Okay, so let's start from the end. I agree. None of that has anything to do with science. Because none of that is science. That's not what I don't even know how to process what in the fuck you just said. Can love be explained by an explosion in outer space? No, it can't. I feel like he's making an allusion to the Big Bang, which was an explosion. It was inflation and then an expansion that's still going on today. And so, no, that doesn't explain love. What does explain love are the chemical processes in our brain and how those chemicals interact with each other and interact with our brain cells and all this other shit. Like, that explains love. And then he weirdly jumps around to abiogenesis. Because he's like, the two molecules just sort of bang into each other and then boosh, whole entire people with consciousness and love and beauty and all this other shit form. Is that how it works? Just two chemicals busting into each other? No, that's definitely not science.
Science is good, but God is beyond science. Science is not the end, and it can't explain. Science cannot explain love.
You can definitely explain love with science. Love is a chemical reaction that happens in your brain. A chemical reaction between different chemicals that everybody has that well, not everybody, I guess. In varying levels, everybody has those particular chemicals, but they all interact in different ways in order to give you love. If you're looking for a more specific answer, high levels of dopamine and norepinephrine are usually linked to attraction in this sense of love. These same chemicals are also responsible for making us giddy, energetic, and euphoric. But they can also cause a decreased appetite and insomnia, which means that you could possibly be so giddy, energetic, euphoria, or in love that you don't eat or sleep. Or, well, rather, you eat less and you sleep less. So yes, science can definitely explain love, dumb fuck.
I remember many years ago, I was in Uganda, and we were doing an outreach there. And my team and I were at the hotel one morning, and we went out to get some breakfast, and it was beautiful and sunny, and the weather was warm, and all the tables were outside. Everybody was eating outside under that beautiful African sun.
Uh-huh. And then what happened?
And as my team and I were sitting at our table, there was another young woman there that we obviously didn't know her. She was Caucasian. She was the only other Caucasian in the hotel because, we were in Uganda. It's an African country. And so this young girl, she was probably in her upper 20s. She saw us sitting there. She knew we were foreigners. She, wanted to know what we were doing there. So she came up to our table. She said, who are you? Can I sit down with you?
Oh, shit. And then what'd you do? Did you hit on her? What'd you do?
I said, please sit down. So we started talking, and I asked about her, and she was a scientist. She was there doing some type of medical research. And then I told her what I was doing there. And she said, well, I don't believe in God.
How much you would have bet that she was just there for like a doctor's appointment or something like that? And he's like, she was there for medical research.
I said, that's too bad. I said, how do you explain the fact that you have self-awareness?
Self-awareness is a byproduct of a more advanced central nervous system. Higher developed brains can develop this sense of self-awareness. There are even other animals in the animal kingdom that have also developed some kind of basic sense of self-awareness. So my explanation is way more reasonable than God did it. Also, I kind of feel like he's bullshitting the story a little bit. Maybe it actually happened, but I know that whenever I go up to a group of people or something like that, and they're like, oh, hey, look, we're rabbis. Oh, all right. I don't believe in God. Like, that just sort of, at least for me, that just wouldn't occur to me. But I'm give him the benefit of the doubt. Let's just take his story that he's telling here at face value and say this shit really happened. Let's argue for the strongest position, shall we?
How can you explain that you're aware of yourself, that you're aware of your thoughts, that you can even choose which thought to dwell on? Can that be explained by a big boom that happened in outer space, supposedly billions of years ago?
No, but that's not what science says about self-awareness or our understanding about how our brains developed or anything like that. So I don't know why he's so fixated on the Big Bang or, this great inflation event. I'm not sure why he's really focused on that. Why does he think that everything ultimately relates back to the Big Bang? Which, I mean, really everything does, but not in the way that he's talking about it. Like, not as a direct explanation for things that we experience now.
I said, consider that rose behind you. I don't know if it was a rose, it was a beautiful flower. I said, look at that flower. I said, where does beauty come from?
Beauty also is a chemical reaction in the brain. I cover that a lot more thoroughly in this video that I've got linked up here, and I probably have down in the description, where I argue against a video that presents 5 different arguments from beauty. Beauty is a chemical reaction that happens in your brain. We all experience beauty because chemicals interact in our brain that causes these experiences to happen. Whenever somebody asks me, well, why do you think beauty exists if not for a God? Then I just tell them, laws of chemistry and physics, motherfucker. I don't say it in such a mean way. I'm just saying it's the laws of physics and chemistry.
And then I challenged her with the ability that we have as human beings to love. And we talked for a few minutes, 15 minutes or so, and I shared a little bit more about what I was doing. And she asked a bit about our outreach that was going to be taking place that night. And so sure enough, she came that night. And she stood out because there was only about, 5, 10 Caucasians in a group of about 30 to 50,000 people.
Oh, I bet she came for sure. I feel like calling bullshit on this 40 to 50,000 people at this religious event in Africa. I mean, I don't know. Maybe I know that we're supposed to be arguing as if this guy was being truthful in what he's saying, but I kind of feel like this is a very Trumpish moment where there were millions of people at his inauguration. In reality, there was like 3,000 people there. I kind of feel like maybe that's what's happening here, because I sincerely doubt it was 40 to 50,000 people. This isn't some kind of fucking Queen concert or some shit like that.
So she stood out and she was real close, and God was moving powerfully. And so I actually had one of our ushers go to her and bring her up to the platform because I wanted her to see what God was doing. And it was one of the most amazing nights. It was so surreal that I've ever had in my life. I was on the platform. I believe it was in Gulu, Uganda. And as I began to sing in the spirit, demons started manifesting. I mean, again, 30,000 to 50,000 people there. And as I just began to sing in the spirit, 100 or so people, probably more, just started manifesting demons. I'm talking about screaming, shrieking, rolling on the ground, foaming at the mouth. I'm sorry to, but this is what was going on.
So wait a second. Your praise music causes people to seize up, start foaming from the mouths, and scream in pain. And you think that these are demons manifesting. What the fuck? Anybody out there, if you're at a concert or some kind of social gathering and people start seizing up and foaming from their mouths, call 911 or whatever the number is in your respective country. Call an ambulance. Get somebody there to help. Don't be like this dumb fuck and just be like, oh shit, the demons are coming out. You on the triangle, hit it harder, faster. You with the tambourine. I'm not feeling it enough. There's more demons out there. We need to do it. Praise Jesus. Don't do that.
Eyes rolled back in the back of the head. So there was one woman up that was close to the platform where I was ministering from. And she was manifesting really badly. So I told the ushers, bring her on the platform.
So This is horrible. I know I'm laughing about it, but it's just because this seems so surreal to me. You see a woman that's manifesting demons pretty badly in the front row, meaning that she's probably like seizing up and everything and like foaming at the mouth. And he's like, oh yeah, get that woman right there. Bring her up on the stage while she's seizing up and foaming at the mouth. That's definitely Satan. This, instead of getting her medical attention, you bring her up on stage? What the fuck is wrong with you?
And they brought her on the platform, and she was like all over the place flailing. You can actually search me more on YouTube and just search under demons. And I'm sure if you look under my name and demons, you'll see demons being exorcised, cast out of people while I'm in Africa.
Oh shit, really? You got that on your YouTube channel? What's that look like?
She started vomiting. She was vomiting seriously.
When I released deliverance over the people, beloved ones, this woman started shaking and convulsing and vomiting and vomiting and vomiting. She came up and testified how all those sick, defiled spirits that were in her came up out of her, and she testified that she was set free.
You see, I feel like here's a prime example of the predatory nature of these religious figures, like Rabbi Schnieder here, because I feel like he's preying on these people in Africa. This is not a virtuous thing that you should really be proud of, because I mean, these are people that are what seem to be very desperate for hope, for to be brought up out of whatever kind of thing or situation they're living in, and you're preying on them. I mean, for one thing, if a woman starts vomiting violently in your crowd, maybe call an ambulance, because there's something medically wrong with her. Or maybe she's just so upset and she's so overcome and everything like that, she started vomiting. Either way, seek medical treatment. Don't just think that there are demons manifesting. I don't know. My inclination from what I've seen here, just from him telling me to look him up about this crazy shit, tells me that he's a predatory person. Damn, dude.
We have some videotape on that. But at any rate, they bring her up on the platform. And I begin to take authority over Satan and the powers of darkness on the platform, and I'm holding the mic in my hand as I'm commanding Satan and his demons to leave this woman that was manifesting so violently. And when I took authority over Satan and his demons over that woman, when I was ministering to that woman, and I commanded the demons to leave with the microphone in my hand, instantly 100 people or more in the crowd started manifesting demons.
And by manifesting demons, he means violently foaming at the mouth, vomiting, and I guess just sort of spasming out. I don't see any difference between you and like the televangelists that appear and they take their coat off and they start beating people. Get out of here, Satan! And beats them with their jackets and everything. Hadouken, motherfucker! Fuck you, Satan! Like, I feel like he's a televangelist just for, like, crowds in Africa in this instance, but just in general. I feel like he's kind of the televangelist type that thinks that he has power over demons, and so he's like, I cast the demons out of her and gave her a Pepto-Bismol because she kind of seemed like she needed it. This man is fucking dangerous. He doesn't look dangerous, but he definitely is with his ideology, and I feel like he's just putting that on display here in this video. Again, though, this has nothing to do with atheism. The whole existence of demons and everything like that, I get we don't believe in demons, so, and he's apparently fought demons like face to face and shit and like cast them out of motherfuckers. Be gone, demon! Kind of thing, like it's a superpower. But that doesn't mean that really happened. Like, there wasn't really demons at this thing, right? There was a woman and apparently multiple people that are either very suggestible. He got them into a suggestible state, and so they reacted the way that he wanted them to react. Or they all really got violently sick because of his bullshit that he was shoving down their throats. Either way, it's not demons.
And it was like pandemonium. And it was a violent, strong manifestation. I mean, they're punching, screaming, flailing, running, shouting, screeching. I mean, it was violent. And it was like unbelievable what was happening in the crowd. It was like pandemonium. I literally felt like I was in the book of Acts, and I was back in the book of Acts. And I was really concerned that the platform that I was standing on was going to get run over. We were this close to mass hysteria. But praise God, the Lord was there.
It was pandemonium, y'all. Just fucking crazy shit going all over the place. Holy shit. Praise the Lord. We started a mosh pit for Jesus.
The people that manifested got delivered by and large. As far as I know, all of them did. I don't know, but I mean, I'm assuming that's what we see God doing. The woman on the platform that I was ministering to, she got set free. But the point is, and the reason I told the story, is the scientist that we met at the hotel that morning during breakfast. She was at the meeting during this uprising. She was on the platform. She witnessed the entire thing. Here was this scientist that didn't believe in the supernatural, that is seeing right before her very eyes the confrontation between the literal spirit of God with the realm of darkness, and she saw the reality of it.
No, any reasonably minded person that would have witnessed all of this would have sat there and been like horrified by what was going on. Because if you could just imagine it, there's a giant mosh pit of Christians right in front of this rabbi who's singing praises about Jesus. Everybody in the crowd is punching one another, they're fucking vomiting and foaming from the mouth all over everywhere. And they're acting like a goddamn bad zombie movie is what they're doing. They're just in there punching each other, vomiting on each other, shaking violently. And then you've got this motherfucker up on the stage talking about Jesus destroying the devil. And then the scientist would be over there like, where are the exits again? Because this is beyond my capacity to help right now. I think that we need the National Guard or the Army or whatever in the fuck we got down here, because it is getting a bit crazy, and they might quite literally be turning into zombies, right? I think there's more chance of the entire crowd turning into zombies and starting the zombie apocalypse than there is that demons were manifesting from these people's guts in the form of foam and vomit and violent tendencies. I feel like a zombie apocalypse is way more plausible than that.
Because when you look into people's eyes that are possessed by a demon, inhabited by a demon and controlled by the demon, when you look in their eyes, you can see that you're looking at something from another realm, something that is not of this world. And to see those eyes that had just a moment ago been taken with something from another world, some horror, in some other realm, when you see those same eyes, when you take authority over those demons in that person in the name of Yeshua.
Why does it gotta be a whore? Like some whore from another realm. Whores. Like what are the eyes of demons? Like when someone's taken over by a demon, what do their eyes look like? You mean their pupils are just like really dilated? How do you know that's not from like an adrenaline push that you're giving them by ramping them up with all your Jesus talk, and probably people punching them in the face, as well as like you punching other people in the face that apparently was happening. I mean, how do you know that these eyes that you were seeing weren't just some kind of chemical reaction happening in their brain because of the heightened experience that you were giving them? Also, unless the eyes are like completely fucking black, I don't see how you could determine that they were demon possessed. Like an unnatural eye color. Like maybe they were black with specks of like red in there for like the burning embers of their souls or something like that. Like I don't, what the fuck? You think you looked into the eyes of demons that were possessing people's bodies? This just seems so out of the world. Also, what does this have to do with the idea that atheism shouldn't exist? Is it because, you think you saw demons manifesting through vomit and foam and violent actions? This is all ridiculous shit.
And then those eyes begin to clear up right as I'm witnessing it. They go from horror and terror and hysteria. All of a sudden they're cleared. and they're peaceful, and you see the love of God coming through. They've been set free, and you see the beauty of the human soul. It's an amazing thing. That atheist saw that last night.
When you put people in these highly suggestible states, like he's talking about here, you can get them to change their demeanor on the whim, right? If you get people into these highly suggestible states, you can get them to do just about anything. I mean, you see this plain as day with the hypnotists that put on their shows and everything like that, hypnotizing people into doing those things. Those people, the illusionists, the hypnotists, they play around with that kind of thing all the time. And it perfectly explains what he's doing here, regardless of whether or not they are like just some kind of act and they're not really hypnotizing people or what in the fuck ever. However you want to consider those people, it doesn't matter. He is doing the exact same thing here. It's just as fake. Well, fake in the sense that he is influencing people and suggesting that they do certain things. And he suggested they go from this manic state into a calm and peaceful state.
You know, that she saw that night. And then the next thing that happened was that next morning. That's why I said last night, because I was thinking of the next scene, which is in the morning. So the morning after this outreach where she was at, seeing all these things, I'm back at the hotel with my team. We're getting breakfast. And sure enough, this young scientist is there. And I'm in line, just picking, some things up, putting some things on my plate for breakfast. And she comes up to me and she said, I want to thank you for your wisdom. She became a believer. She saw the reality of the power of God. But you know what? We shouldn't need proof.
Well, yeah, because that's what Jesus says in the New Testament, that, if you believe without proof, you're actually in a better position. I know that we're supposed to be taking this guy at his word, that everything that he says is what truly happened, with the exception of the supernatural crazy shit. I feel like I have to call bullshit on somebody being convinced by seeing a crowd of Christians punch themselves in the face, vomit, and then immediately become calm. Like, I feel like that entire situation shouldn't convince anybody. If we're taking this guy at his word that she did become Christian, well, then I feel like even the smartest of us can be duped by things at times. We can definitely believe things that aren't true based on bad information. And so this shouldn't convince anybody about anything. Just because some bumblefuck Paul was convinced that Jesus died for his sins and everything like that, or bumblefuck scientist in Uganda that was doing medical tests of some kind of nature ended up believing in Jesus. I don't think that any of those situations right there should compel you to believe in Jesus.
God is alive. And I'm going to pick this video up. Be watching, because I'm going to be speaking more about why atheism is just stupid.
I feel like somebody calling me or atheism stupid that puts out a video like this, it's actually a compliment. It's like, oh, it's stupid not to believe in God. It's more rational to believe that demons manifest in my 40 to 50,000 people crowd. They vomit and punch each other in the face and they foam from their mouths. And I bring them up on stage to make an example of them and cause more demons to get pissed off and punch each other in the face. To be called stupid by somebody like this, I take that as a compliment, because that means that I am so far from what he considers to be correct or intellectual or smart or anything like that. He considers me so far from his concept that he has to call me or atheism stupid. I feel very secure in being called stupid by this person. He also didn't explain why atheism shouldn't exist as a position. He didn't actually address anything that the title of his video supposedly addressed, other than the fact that he thinks demons are real, infest people, and that he has the power to bring them out through vomiting, foaming, and violent action. Oh no, this was a trippy fucking video, I have to say. I mean, it's so fucking ridiculous. It's, whew, goddamn. This is some crazy shit there, son. Anyways, all in all for this video, I really wasn't convinced. He didn't address the title of his video. He didn't address why atheism is stupid or why atheism shouldn't exist. So all in all, it's a very dud video. He has a very anecdotal explanation as to why God is quote unquote living and exists and how he has the power to command demons. I don't know. He definitely doesn't have the power to control demons because demons, like God, probably and most likely don't exist. So, I'm very unconvinced by your bullshit story, and I don't think that anybody should be convinced by your bullshit story. I just think that they need to steer clear of your ass because you're a crazy ass, a televangelist that only wants to manipulate people into believing in God and apparently vomiting and punching each other in the face. Anyways, if you guys will, please leave me a comment down below with what you think about this crazy ass rabbi's story here in this video. Do you find it as completely insane as me and think that he's very predatory in his actions? Or do you have a different idea? Let me know down below. And hey, while you're down there, why don't you smash that like button and subscribe if you want to see more content like this. Don't forget to stand up and use your voice. Bye, heathens.